block parties, and the band used to be the main thing that people would come to see at a block party. The people would hire a band to come and play for them. And then between the band, after the band would finish their set, then the DJ would come on. And he would just play like the top 40 records, whatever was hot. And it started off with him just playing one turntable, one record, just playing that record. And when that record stopped, he'd take it off, play another record. It went from that to two turntables, or one turntable and a microphone. And on the microphone, he started telling people to come on, just gather around, you know what I mean? Band to be back on in 15 minutes. And he'd play a record. Tell everybody to clap their hands to the record, in between the record. Then he got two turntables, so he wouldn't have to let the record stop. And after a minute, like this to me, I was started in, I'm talking like in the mid 70s, like 75, 76. And around 78, 79 is I guess when the two turntables really got into effect and they started blending records, you know. So the DJ used to be the DJ was the MC at the same time. It wasn't two people. It was like it was the DJ and he was the MC. And it went from the MCing started like he started putting a little rhymes. Put your foot on the rock and don't stop. Everybody say, yeah, if you're feeling good. If you're feeling good, say real good. Just little things he started saying. He started making the rhymes, and the more he would rhyme, the more the people would start appreciating him. And the more he would keep the music going, the more the people would start appreciating him. So if you was a DJ and you could just keep the music going non-stop, that was a big thing. Back in the day, that was a big thing alone, just to keep the music playing non-stop. We went from that to the DJ actually being the main attraction came around 79. As the bands were still getting hired, but the DJ was, you know, bigger. You know, the band would play, and then when the DJ would say, okay, everybody come around, gather around, he would play that main top 40 record and tell everybody to say ho, and it just was more of a party type of scene. And it went for him blending the record so much that he had a partner that would constantly keep the music, the crowd participation going, crowd participation going, and keeping the blend going together. The people we was looking up to back in those days from our neighborhood was Davey DMX. He was the DJ, the first DJ for Kurtis Blow. Actually, Run was the first DJ for Kurtis Blow, but he was too young. He was like 13 years old, and they wouldn't let him, you know, it was cool on the weekends, but when he had to go to school, and Kurt had a show, he couldn't hang out. Well, Run actually was the one that made up calling Kurtis Blow out with the turntables, calling the name out with the turntables, and he did that by taking Kurtis Blow instrumental, and Kurtis Blow first record, The Breaks. He said, I'm Kurtis Blow, and I want you to know that these are the breaks. So he used to play the music, boom, boom, boom. I'm Kurtis Blow, boom. I'm Kurtis Blow. Started calling Kurtis Blow out with the turntables. From there, Grandmaster Flash and them was already doing tricks. But we were from Queens, so I can only tell my story. You know, Grandmaster Flash and them was already backspinning. We would see them do their thing, but to us, that was the epitome of hip hop, what Grandmaster Flash did. And Davey DMX, who don't really get a lot of props for what he did, but in Queens, he was our Africa Bambaataa. Bambaataa would come to the park and fill the whole park up with records. Like all the back here would be records, and you know, even though he would play just a break of a record, a 15-second break of a record, and keep that 15-second break going on for like 10 minutes for the MCs to rap, and then somebody would hand them a record, and they would play another 15-second break and keep that going on for 5-10 minutes. At the time, in 79, 80, disco was really big in America. So how hip-hop really got big, the kids rebelled. The kids of the ghettos of America rebelled on disco. Like, you had the rock and roll kids saying disco sucked, and you had the black kids saying, you know, that wasn't into rock and roll. We had no music. You know, we had no real music to get into. R&B, the Motown scene had died down in the late 70s, and it was just like the disco. I can't think of the names of the songs, but it was just a big disco scene going on, and we just really hated disco. So that's when everybody just really got into hip hop, because hip hop tapes were going around. We were getting hip hop tapes from people from the city, like Grandmaster Cash and Grand Wizard Theodore, and you know, that's the Cold Crush Brothers, and Grand Wizard Theodore, and Grandmaster Flash and the Parks, and all these tapes would come out the Parks. So that was the biggest form of music to the urban youth in America. We were chasing after, how can we find these tunes? How can we find these beats that these guys are rhyming over? How can we find out how to be a part of what's going on? So in every park, in every ghetto, not of America, but in Manhattan, in New York City, Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, and the Bronx, in every park, you would have some kids either out there banging on the bench or something, doing the beat and people rhyming, or the people who was really into it, like myself, going out trying to find these breaks that people like Davey DMX and Africa Bambaataa had, and all the other great DJs had. So, that's how hip hop, the vibe of hip hop, really started. It was disco forced us into hip hop. You know what I mean? And hip hop don't really have a sound because we weren't really making records back in these days. We were just taking people's records and rapping over their records, taking their small little breaks, like Billy Squier, Big Beat, and Aerosmith, Toys in the Attic, Walk This Way, and some James Brown cuts, and some, you know, like Pointer Sisters, and whatever we can find that had a funky break, Commodores, whatever beat that we could find that was sound, that what you know as hip hop today was always in existence, but it just was never defined. What hip hop wound up becoming is the break of everyone's song. They would do, whoever would do a little break, that was the beginning of hip hop. Whether it been rock and roll, wherever you can find these beats at. You go back into these crates had rock and roll, folk music, country music, all kinds of music. Wherever the drummer took a chance and made a break, that was what hip hop was. What hip hop was, the funk and the soul of anybody's music.